Hey, I'm Jeff and welcome back to another video. This week I've been going around to a lot of my plants and removing yellow leaves like this. This is just a hobby for me, so if I didn't have a full-time job and I guess life in general, maybe I could pay a little bit more attention to my plants. So this is just a friendly reminder that it's okay to have some struggling plants from time to time. Obviously it does take a lot of work to care for some plants, so I'm going to be kind of fixing up one of my prized plants, the Syngonium chia pens. I also have another grow light that I want to show you guys quickly, and then I have just a couple other kind of random projects that I want to get done. So this is kind of just a little I guess plant chores type video. So let's get started. So what does a normal rational person do when they have a lot of plants and they're already struggling with the ones that they have? Well, of course you go out and buy more plants. So this one, I've been kind of on just a ZZ plant kick lately. I do have the Chameleon ZZ from Costa Farms, but I did combine it with a much larger plant and it's kind of losing its variegation. So I wanted to go out and just pick up another one and just keep this one in a separate pot. And not only did I buy one ZZ plant, I went out and bought another one. This one here, and I can explain. This is a different variety than just the regular green one. This is called the Lucky ZZ, and it's more of a rounded leaf. You can see how these ones are more of like a spear or a spade or something like that. So I hope to get both these plants in a large mature form over the next few years and have big, beautiful plants. So now where I'm going to put this is on the floor right beside my IKEA cabinet. Verena actually reached out and said that they have I guess a slightly different, more of like a modification to a current product for one of their grow lights. So they sent me out one to try, so let's check it out. I've been using the Verena grow light, the T10 vertical grow light, for quite a while now. This one comes with an extension piece, so it's got two little extension bars, and it does have kind of this round plate, which it's a very easy assembly. You just screw it in. Now I'll talk about the round piece here in a second, but what I like about these grow lights is I have a lot of plants that grow on planks and moss poles. So when it outgrows the plank, or if it gets too tall, these extension pieces here will be a great addition where I can just continue to let it grow vertically. Now I'm just going to screw on the bars or this base plate to the end of the grow light. A super easy assembly. Literally takes about 15 seconds and it's complete. Now you can see the height difference between the two. So one has a tripod and the other one has the extension bars. You can just see the difference in height between these grow lights. So this is where I have the plants just kind of beside my IKEA greenhouse cabinet with the light projecting to the plants over here. Now back to the base. I didn't think that I would like this as much as I do, just because when you have the tripod set up, it is extremely sturdy. But I just have the short extension piece on here with the little base plates. But this thing is, well, it's less sturdy, but it is such a space saver, because this one, it probably has like maybe like a 1.5 feet of area that it needs, and this one is just maybe like a few inches, 6 inches, something like that. But such a space saver when I have limited space in this area. So I believe this base plate right now is only available in the US, but when it comes available to Canada, then I'm definitely going to buy a couple of these and kind of retrofit them with my existing grow lights, just because this area right here is kind of my pathway, and these tripods just kind of, I guess, create an extra obstacle. Honestly, these are such amazing lights. I'll leave the link down in the description of this video to my Amazon Canada and US page, and you can go check it out. Before I get to the chia pens over here, this crusty looking thing, I want to show my water grown Monstera. It's getting a new leaf. Look at this thing. Like, I can't even get it all into frame. This thing is just absolutely massive. I do have a video planned probably in the next few weeks. I do have it in just a small little pickle jar for its water container, but I'm going to be upsizing it into a 2-gallon or 8-liter water jug, or glass jar I should say, for this giant maturing Monstera in water. Now the yellow leaves have also claimed a couple on my competition pothos, so that video is coming out down the road here as well. So let's grab this one. Look at this leaf. This is terrible because I absolutely love this plant and it's looking like trash. Now I simply could just remove all of these leaves, so I could just cut them off like so, just slice them all off. But what I don't like about that is now I have a large plant like this, a large moss pole, which has a completely bare section here. So this setup right now has 3 moss pole extension pieces. The goal or the whole reason for these moss poles is to do like a chop and prop. So you can chop off a moss pole extension and then you can place it in another pot, and that way you can just keep continuously letting it grow up the moss pole, chop it back, and then hopefully you get larger leaves. So this only really works when you take care of the plant. This plant was extremely dry. I let it get way too dry, so it is 100% my fault. It's not a pest issue or anything like that, even though I'm still struggling with thrips downstairs here. But what I'm going to do, and I kind of just assessed this plant a couple minutes ago, I thought I was going to basically just take the top portion here, but in looking at the root system, it doesn't look like there's a real significant establishment of roots from the top section. So if I just took the top section and placed it in its own pot, it would probably suffer. So in looking lower, or kind of the middle section right here, there's a nice a large root system right here. So I think I'm going to take the top 2 sections and kind of restart this plant over again. So the 2 moss poles connect right here, and it's actually pretty good because it's right in between these 2 nodes. So this node is going to have, or actually it's the one higher, it's going to have this large root system here. This one should have some roots in there as well, maybe not, I don't know. But this is where I'm going to make the cut, right here. So I'm just going to take my utility knife and just cut the stem in between these 2 nodes, just something like that, just a nice clean cut. Now I'm going to try and pry these 2 moss pole extension pieces apart. Sometimes it goes fairly smooth, sometimes not. I can already feel some resistance, and you can see there's some pretty chunky roots at the back here, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull it out here. I might have to cut these roots. There. Nothing else I could do with that, but it still has these roots. They will regrow. They're looking a little dry, so we'll see how it goes. And I'm curious to see how root bound this is. So it is pretty root bound, or very root bound for a syngonium, but it's definitely got a nice root system. So I'm going to set that aside. You can obviously keep it in the pot or upsize it anyways into a larger pot, and it should activate these little nodes right here, and you can get a new plant, which I might actually do. Well, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with this one yet, but I am going to find a pot for this one. I'm going to soak the moss, and then I'm going to place it in its own new pot. I have to show you guys my Syngonium Frosted Heart. This one, again, same thing. It's severely neglected. Like this leaf, not good. Here's a yellow one. This one is a little bit more slow growing. Let's see. I absolutely love these Syngoniums. The Frosted Heart and the regular green one, even though they don't look like a Syngonium, they are probably one of my favorite plants. Like, look at this variegation. Absolutely beautiful. So, shame on me for letting them get too dry. Okay, so this one, oops. Oh, did I just snap it? We're good. We're good here. It was just the extension piece. So I gave it a good thorough soaking. You can see the water is dripping out of the moss. Now all I'm going to do is just place it in a similar sized terracotta pot, and then I'm just going to add soil just around the edges. This is an aroid mix, so just a nice chunky soil. You can see just lots of big chunks in there. The reason why you want a chunky mixture is for water drainage as well as airflow to the roots. So I'm just going to dump this in, pack it down, and hopefully this thing stays upright. So like I've said in many of my other videos, I like to slightly lean the moss pole backwards, just because over time as the plant grows, then it likes to get a little bit top heavy, which tends to pull the moss pole and the plant forward. And that can be disastrous because you don't want a plant to fall over. Now I have a little soil tray underneath the table here. So I'm just going to add in some soil, just regular potting mix, just behind the moss pole here, just so I can kind of fill the gaps and have this a little bit more stable, just something like that. Fill it right up. I can use it on top here too. And then I'm going to take it over to the bathroom and give it a good soak, and hopefully this plant can recover. So for this one, it's a leafless stem. Awesome root system on it. I'm going to be placing it in a little bit of a larger pot, and all I'm going to do is just add in some of the mix from this. This is just from other plants. So yeah, it's just extra soil, I guess. So I'm going to put that in there like that, and just scoop in the recycled soil. Pack that down, put a little bit at the back, and this one's done. I'm going to set this one in a different area. I'm going to try an area where it gets a little bit less light, even though this one should probably get more light to activate those nodes, but I'm curious to see how many nodes will activate on this one. If you have a plant that is struggling to grow aerial roots into moss or on a plank or anything like that, one way you can kind of help it along is by using saran wrap, and I did it on this one right here. So this plant, again, not looking the greatest. It's been under attack from thrips. It's basically got an entirely bare stem like that. This one, for whatever reason, it's having a little bit of a difficult time rooting in the moss, so I just added the saran wrap, and you can see there's some roots. I don't know if I can peel this back or not, but there's some roots starting to grow, and it looks like it's actually growing from the front. So once it gets roots, I'm going to have to flip it around. This is a whole nother project. And that's all I'm going to be doing with this one, just placing it at the top. Doesn't have to be pretty, just as long as it covers that node. It's not the greatest wrap job ever, but it'll do the trick, and hopefully we'll have some nice roots growing from the top all the way down the moss pole into the soil. Now the last thing that I want to do for this video is get these 3 anthuriums out of moss. They are very nicely rooted. I got them from VeryPlants. It's an online plant shop here in Canada. I believe it's Ontario. Again, just due to time restraints, I haven't had any time to repot these, take it out of moss. So that is what I'm going to be doing today. This one is the Zara Michelle crossed with the Dark Phoenix. So that's what this leaf looks like. Absolutely beautiful plants, super healthy, but it's time to get them out of the moss here. So I'm just going to unravel these roots and then kind of pick away at the moss. I might break up this clip here and there just because you don't need to see me removing moss from 3 different plants. The nice thing about the way they root theirs in moss, it's not packed in moss. Like some places they just like pack the moss and it's so hard to unravel, but this one you can see it's just nice and fluffy and it's quite easy to remove. So I'm just trying to pull away at everything that doesn't look like a root, and that just looks like moss. Okay, super healthy roots. It came off very easy. I'm going to be reusing this moss. I'll put it back in the my little moss bucket. I did lose a couple of roots here, but not a big deal. Now lately I've been using these plastic cups just for these anthuriums, and they really seem to like it. That looks like it'll fit in there nicely. I like to cut out a couple little areas on the bottom just for drainage. So just kind of make like a little slit, something like that, just to allow for excess water just to kind of filter out, just so it's not sitting in the bottom, just like that. So a couple little areas like that. This leaf right here is starting to yellow, and it looks like it is one of the oldest leaves. So I'm just going to cut this one off. It's just going to die anyway. So I'm going to place this like that. The stem I want just slightly below the top of the cup. That way it has some room to grow over time. I can add more soil if I need. And all I'm going to do is just add in this nice chunky mixture, making sure this stays centered, and then just kind of shake down the soil. You can tap it, you can use a pencil, just to poke it down around these roots, just like that. And I think it'll definitely appreciate this, this chunky mixture for sure compared to the moss. Even though it had really healthy roots, I was actually quite impressed, but I just don't like growing plants in moss long term. I appreciate the moss pull, but I don't like plants growing in moss long term. So there's a little area right here where it's just not getting filled in, so that's why I like using the pencil. You can, without damaging the roots, just lightly tap in that soil just so it fills in all those air gaps, and obviously it's going to fill in those areas once you give it some water as well, but just make sure it's nice and stable and settled in there. And I'm just going to cover up the rest of these roots like that. Now I want to make sure that I have the tag in here so I don't forget which one it is. And I am going to give this some water here right away as well. So, and then it's going to go back in the IKEA cabinet. There, look at this newest leaf. Beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. And now I'm going to do the same for the other two here. This one is the Forgetii luxurians. There's the tag, and here's the newest leaf. This thing is crazy. It just kind of looks like a shimmering leaf. I don't even know how to describe it. It's got an iridescent leaf, I guess. It looks like it just kind of shimmers. So again, nice root system on this. I'm running out of these little plastic cups. I got these ones from the dollar store. This one actually looks like a McDonald's cup. But I got these from the dollar store, and when I went last time, they only had like just the small ones. They didn't have these larger ones. So I'm gonna have to find another supplier of these little plastic cups. Anyways, I like looking or monitoring the roots through these plastic cups, and it seems to hold in the moisture quite nicely for them as well. Because I am a chronic underwaterer, and that is why my plants dry out, is because most times, or with a lot of my plants, I like using terracotta just for the look of it, plus it just helps them dry out faster, but that is not a good thing when you are an underwater, or when I have a lot of plants like I do. I tend to let them get a little bit drier than they should. So in all reality, I really shouldn't be using terracotta except for a lot of my like cactus and succulents and that sort of thing, but the rest of my houseplants, I probably shouldn't have them in terracotta. And then same thing with this one as well as the last one. I just cut some holes in the bottom of the cup here, and it's got a really nice root system. Now, it's pretty easy to get the moss off these thicker roots, but when you have plants like Hoyas, you buy an expensive collector Hoya or a rare Hoya, and it's rooting in moss. Good luck untangling it without tearing off like these smaller roots. Say goodbye to your root system. It can be a little bit difficult on a plant like a Hoya. A little bit of rot right there. I'm just going to cut that off. So same thing. I'm just going to place it in the cup, making sure all the roots are covered. And this lowest, or this lower leaf right here, it's getting a little bit yellow. I'm just going to pluck this one off. And look at the other ones here, making sure that there's no pests on it. And so far they look pretty good. And again, just making sure that all these roots have soil around them. So I'm just going to fill in these little air pockets, and then I'm going to take them over and give them a good thorough watering here as well. Hopefully settle that soil. Something like that. Might add just a little bit more. I'm not going to go through the last one here just because it's the same process as these ones. Hopefully you guys have stuck around to the end of the video here. But these two, and where's my little tag? Got to put that in. Put that right like that. Here's the newest leaf. This last one here, the Zara Michelle crossed with the Zara Michelle, had a little bit more of a thinner or finer root system, and then I noticed it's getting a new little leaf. So I'm fully anticipating to lose that leaf just because I did have to tear up some of the roots, but yeah, I'm happy with how they turned out. They're nicely watered and yeah, looking beautiful. So hopefully you like this video. If you have any comments or questions, please leave it down in the comment section. Otherwise, thanks for watching all my videos. I do appreciate all the support that you guys give me and my channel. So thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.